Hey man, how you doing?
Okay, the camera just went live. Uh, what I also do too, and I forgot to mention this, if you have a laptop or a computer, the best thing to do is open it up because sometimes they're commenting, and if we're in like talking about something, we may miss a question or an answer or something that somebody will want to know or ask you. And so that's what I'm doing right now is I'm setting up my computer with on my YouTube channel so I can see that.
And what is the? I mean, let me
Team
see.
Hard Life. Team Hard Life.
Team. Hold on. Let me. Okay, computer. What's going on?
I'll show it just like that. And then you'll just click on the live video.
Yeah, waiting for my computer to do something here.
Roger that. Yeah, I had to inject mine with some caffeine a little while ago because I didn't want to do nothing.
Let's see. The thing is, mine is. I don't know what's going on.
Take your time, boss. We're good. What's up, Night Hunter, Dave, Luciano, John, Hurting for Sturgeon, STX. What's up, gents? How y'all doing? We're waiting for Mr. Luis to get his. I wanted to ask you, how do you properly say your last name? I didn't want to murder it. That's
It look, man. I'm used to that. I've been here 13 years, and every time I heard so many versions of my last name. Uh, Buentello, Buentello,
Buenteo?
Buentello,
Buenteo?
Buentello. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Buentello or
Okay.
Buentello.
But don't feel bad. Mine's Sartuche, so
Sertucho. No, I've heard that before. Definitely.
uh, Roger that.
Okay, how come I
That's a
don't?
rare one. Like for locals here, there's actually another Sartuche family here in Corpus, and we've actually never met. The only reason we found out
Really?
they existed was because my little brother went from one high school to another, and he graduated there. And at the graduation pamphlet is when we saw the other name. We're like, hey, somebody's behind you. Like we're normally always the last one because it's CE, and there was another Sartuche there, and we're like, who is it? So a few years later, my mom found out who they were, but I was already gone for the Marine Corps, so I didn't get to meet them. But yeah, she said that she sat there for like 3 hours, and they were trying to figure out the history, and they went as far back as they could remember, and never even met. It's
All
like,
right.
wow.
What is the group again?
Team Hard Life. It's on YouTube.
Team
Hard Life.
Hard Life. Corpus Christi fly fishing. Fly fishing. That's
Mm,
awesome.
let's see.
I never
I
done
don't know.
fly fishing. It is
I
so
never have
interesting.
either. I was like, where did
It
that
is
come
so
from?
interesting. And then
Let
okay,
me see.
okay. What am I doing here? Live. Perfect. Is that a one?
Let me see. I don't know.
Yep.
Do
Perfect.
okay. Do you see
So
yourself on there?
yeah, hold on. Let me mute it.
Yes, yes. You will mute it because it'll give the secondary feedback because it's about 10 seconds behind us. As we're talking, they're about 10 seconds behind us.
Okay, perfect. Let me try to hold this right here.
Curtis, Jesus. All
All right.
right, guys. Well, we got quite a few of y'all on here pretty quick. Awesome. All
That's
right,
great.
guys. So, I would like to introduce Luis Buenteo. He is running for Congress, right?
Yes.
Roger that. I actually found one of your advertisements on Facebook as I was scrolling through, and you were on the beach here in Corpus. So I was like, hold on. I clicked on it and started listening. I was like, yeah, it's a lot of what we need here. So I
Yes.
kind of want to give you the platform for here for a little bit to kind of tell us who you are, what you're about, and then we can kind of go from there if you're okay
Thank
with
you.
that.
Thank you. Thank you, Alberto. Yes. So I was born and raised in Mexico. I came as a foreign student many, many decades ago. I spent years in the Valley. I went to a school in Harlingen for 4 years, went to A&I for one. Had to go back to Mexico at some point when my dad had a stroke. Came back again. Um, I married my wife 21 years ago, almost 22 this June. So a lot of history in our district. I live in the valley for many years, and I've been in Corpus Christi for the last 13. I worked for two different members of Congress. I started first with Congressman Blake Farenthold back in 2011, and that's how I ended up in Corpus Christi. The first 2 years that I worked for Congressman Farenthold, the district went from Nueces County all the way to Cameron County. That's where I started working the first 2 years. Then there was redistricting at the time, and the district was pushed north. So I came over to Corpus. Congressman Farrell asked me to come to Corpus Christi, and I moved ever since. And he resigned April 2018. Congressman Cloud got elected in June, sworn in July 10th, and asked me to work for him. So I continued working for Congressman Cloud until December 2022. At that time, I moved over to Cheniere Energy, and until the September of this year, when I had to, in order to run for Congress, I had to resign my position with them. And here I am.
Roger, Roger that. Well, wow, that's a big leap of faith right there to quit your livelihood to on a
Yes,
chance. I mean, and I mean,
and you hit it right on the nail on the head, because I am my own. I am the only one that works at the house. My wife, well, we homeschool our girls, so my wife stays here. We're strong believers. We go to Rock City Church, and so that was a lot of the conversation, a lot of my conversation with her prior to coming to a decision. I mentioned to her, like, hey, this is what Senior says, that if I want to run for Congress, I'm going to have to resign. And thinking, well, she's going to do what's prudent. Okay, don't quit. Continue working. No,
mhm.
she said, well, I feel peace from God that you should run for office. And like, I was floored, and I was scared, like, wow, what am I going to do? Well, pray. And I prayed for a long time. I was praying, asking for direction from God. When I got that direction from God, I'm still in my flesh, like, man, I quitting my job. How are we going to do this? I still, I need to provide for my.
Roger that. Okay, sorry about the little bit of shakeup there. I
Oh
was
no.
charging my phone and it may have heated up just a little bit, but I have a little air conditioner that I'm putting on it, and that'll keep the phone regulated because when I'm live, it heats up the phone, and right now it's nice and cool. But when I'm charging it, it heats it up. So, and I heard you
Okay.
kind of glitching there for a second. I don't know if anybody else heard it. Did If it did, let me know, guys. I definitely want us to be able to get everything out clear. Yeah, give them a few seconds to respond real quick. But yeah, no, I think we should be good because it's the first glitch. I haven't seen a glitch since.
Okay.
But I also want to let you know too, we are big believers in faith here as well. So
It's great to
that
hear.
that
Thank you.
that, that has been. There's times when I had to sit there and just give it all to him because everything was out of my control. There was nothing I could do right. No, it didn't matter what decision, which way I went. Everything I was doing was wrong. So I just stopped and just let him take the wheel, and I that's all I could
Uh,
do. And
and
I'm here. I'm still here. So yes.
but in our humanity, that's hard, because we want to feel that we're in control of our things, especially as the head of the household and the sole provider. You want to feel like I'm in control, but when you surrender, it's hard. But at the same time, if I've always said this, if you compare, the world, how do you surrender? What is the sign of surrender? When someone surrender, what do you do?
Raise your hands up. Yeah.
And what is the sign of victory when you win?
Same thing.
Same
Same
thing.
thing.
It is the same thing. When you surrender to God, you will have victory.
Yes.
That's a victory in itself. I'm not saying, oh, I'm going to win the race. I don't know if I'm going to win the race. That's up to the Lord. The Bible shows me and tells me that it is Him who establishes government. So He's the one who's going to decide. He's the one who's going to put in people's heart who to vote for. Period. And if it's me, there's nothing any of the other candidates can do to avoid it. But if it's not me, there's nothing I can do to make it happen. So that's
No.
the thing. It is the victory is not on me. My job is to run, present my ideas, my values, and let the people decide. And that's just God is how He's going to do
I
what
tell
He's going to do.
my son that all the time. He's an extreme believer in God, and
Amen.
we have discussions all the time between me and my son, and um, he's like, well, if it's God's will, He'll provide. And I said, yes, but God also wants you to plow the field.
Oh yeah, definitely. You gotta do your
You have
part. You
you
have
have
to
to
do
do
your
your
part.
part. He ain't gonna
Exactly.
magically make the fields appear for you. He ain't gonna sow them. That's your part. You gotta clean the fields. You gotta sow the fields, and then He'll
Yep.
make everything else happen.
Hmm.
And so that's when he's like, you know, he gets real deep into it. Like but sometimes too, like I think he kind of uses it as a crutch. Like, well,
Okay.
I'm not going to do anything, and I can see and I can understand that because a lot of what we do now is we're trying to want things that technically we shouldn't be wanting. Like we shouldn't be living for just money. We should be living for our family. We should be living for God. And so I see where he's coming from, but I also got to put it in terms that, like I said, you got to plow the field. If you don't plow the field, he ain't gonna make it happen. Like
Yep.
uh, that one joke, old lady prays to win the lotto, and the next week comes, she don't win. The next following week, what comes, she don't win, and like 6 months later, she don't win. But she prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed on it. And then when she gets to heaven, she's like, "Well, I prayed, that I would win the lotto." He's like, "Well, did you ever buy a ticket?"
Exactly. Exactly. That is as simple as that.
Yes,
As
yes,
simple as that. You have to do your part, and do will do the rest. It is always it's a team effort. You do what you need to do. Let me do what I need to do. Period. And that's how the Lord sees that. So it is going to be up to Him. We have good candidates, and that's why I want to leave it. It is going to be at the end of the day, the Lord's is in control. He's sovereign over everything. Everything that happens is because He, yeah, is allowing it.
yes.
And even in one of the scripture that still blows my mind, that it says that not even a leaf of a tree move without His will. And that's like, man, how many trees are out there in the world, and not a single leaf move without His will. That
Amen.
just like, oh wow, Lord, who
I
am
love
I?
it.
Like, I'm nothing. I'm nothing.
Yeah. So, real quick,
Yes,
a lot of the stuff that I did see on there, you were talking about the beaches, you were talking
yes,
about the bays and stuff like that. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on, what they're doing with like the Padre Island National Seashore with the turtle program because right now we need help like big
true.
time. They are just taking and taking and taking and no matter which way we go, nobody is listening. Nobody is joining the fight. So this is when I was hearing you talk about that. I was okay. I got to talk to this gentleman because
Yes,
we need the
definitely.
help.
And I've been aware. When I was working for Congressman Cloud, we were approached. I was approached by the current superintendent. I think it's Eric Bruneman. I think he was telling me a lot of the issues that they were having, but y- you know, just reading things that I've been reading through a lot of things. It seems like a lot of the things that they did to Dr. Shaver, that was, I'm just, I think it was a personal vendetta with higher up or something like that. I don't want to get into the weeds of that,
Yeah,
but she's been doing a fantastic job. She did that project for over 40 years.
yeah,
She's just an icon in our community, an icon in Pinch, and and what I'm concerned about, federal government is a federal government, and that's how they do things. Sometimes they start little by little, and then all of a sudden, that's it. This is what we're doing. I'm like, wait a minute.
No,
So we're in Texas. Texas beaches are Texas beaches, and that's for
Texas
Texans.
beaches.
You do not shut down the beach. You do not stop the access, because that was part of the agreements when they decided to do this back in the 62, I think, when they created PI, Padre National, Padre Island National Seashore. So
Hmm.
it needs to remain open, but Washington still is going to be Washington D.C., and they might want to control everything from DC. Like, no, let Texas be Texas. Let local communities control the access to the beaches. Let's protect it. Let's be responsible. But do not show. That's what I've been hearing from people. Like, oh, they want to close the beach. Like, what do you mean? No access, no vehicular access. Are you going to see 62 miles? How are you going to get to the other end? Walking? There's no way.
Yeah.
You have to have vehicular access at all times. Of course, you got to be responsible and watch for wildlife and all of that. We have to protect our coast. You know,
Yeah.
we want to enjoy it. Yeah, it's our right to enjoy it, but we got to be responsible at the same time. You know, uh, and I think that's my call to action for everybody out there. If you see someone doing something that they're not supposed to be doing on the beach, call them out. Hey, we have to protect our what we have, protect our environment, protect our beaches, our coastline. It is for us to enjoy, but let's do it responsibly.
Yes. And that's was actually one of the biggest kind of arguments that we had because the turtle program has gotten so much support from the fishing communities. And I say the fishing community above all because there's more of us on that beach on a daily, on
Yes.
a weekly, a monthly, yearly basis than any other beach access personnel. You got
Hmm.
guys that come to beaches, you got guys that love to watch the back, the bird watchers and stuff. But at the end of the day, the fishermen has a majority of the population that towards that beach all the time, and 100% of them that I know support the turtle program. Like we
Yes.
are the ones that are the first ones to normally alert the turtle patrol. Hey, we at mile marker 49, we saw a turtle coming aboard, and like we'll actually stop our trip until somebody arrives, and then we let them take over, and then we'll continue on. And that's happened to me numerous times. Other fishermen that I know numerous times, and for them to do it in a manner that they're taking a little bit, a little bit, a little bit at a time. So that way,
Yes.
like you said, you nailed it earlier. They take a little bit at a time, and then all of a sudden, oh, we've lost the beach. Well,
Yep.
we've seen it in other areas. There was another federal park that in inland, and they said, well, they lost it. They end up selling the land to a private industry. So or a private buyer out of Houston or whatever bought the property, but it used to be a park with the lake and all of that. Now it's all private property, and because they said that they didn't have the funds to maintain the park,
Hmm.
so I'm pretty sure you can go through the verbiage of what they're doing with the turtle program, because the turtle program is what made that park survive. Without the
Exactly.
turtle program, the turtle
Exactly.
program bought their vehicles, bought their this. She raked in millions and millions of dollars
Yeah.
and funding to support that turtle program, which
Hmm.
again supported the park.
Yep.
Well, once they brought in uh, Justin, I think it's Justin. God, I forget his name right now. I've had a cloudy day all day today. Simple things I'm not remembering, but they brought him in, and he actually killed other programs in other parks for protected species of animals. So this
Is
ain't the
that is
first
the,
time.
is that the new superintendent, Eric Brunneman?
Eric Brunnerman, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
he's the
I
new
don't know
superintendent.
where he
Well,
got
he's
Justin.
been there a few years now. Yes.
Yes, but the first thing as soon as he came in was
Yes,
to kill
that's
the
what he
turtle
did.
program. Yep.
And he
So
he he reached out to me at the time I was working for Congressman Clara, and he called me and he told me before he did it, this is what I'm gonna do. You might get some calls. And we got some calls.
yeah, well,
And I met with
I,
different people after the fact. After he made the announcement, a lot of people reach out to me and they want us to talk to me, and through see what we could do from the federal standpoint. But it was just a delicate situation, honestly. But I'm with you. Do we have to protect it? Yes. It's for the community, it's for the people, it's for Texans. That Padre Island National Seashore is known not only in Texas or America. People from all over the world come and visit.
Yes.
Macalay Beach, I think is one of the best places for windsurfing in the world, and they come from all over parts of other parts of the world to come and windsurf there. So,
Yes.
why are we doing that to ourselves? Why are we letting Washington decide for us? That's not what I
Exactly.
don't like that. I don't like that.
None of us do. That's why our argument has been like, obviously he's not listening to us. He's doing what he wants to do, and so we came up with the idea of going above his head and start attacking
Hmm.
who is in charge of him, because that's the only way to get things done around here. Is he's got his program. If his higher ups are okay with what he's doing, well then you know what? We're pretty sure most of those get voted in and out of office. So
Some not.
yeah,
That,
well,
that no, I don't think any of them get elected into office. It's the Department of Interior. Uh, that's the big umbrella. That's the secretary level, Secretary of Interior. Then you have the different National Park Service, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, all these things, and and that's where he falls. Usually, federal employees, not elected officials. Only the Secretary of the Interior is an appointee. That's it. But the
so
rest
we
of them.
can so then basically we got to go higher than that. That's what I'm. But you go high enough, somebody is voted
True,
into
but
office.
also something that probably could be done. It's some legislation.
Hmm.
Period.
Well, I know in the original paperwork when it was signed over to give the
Hmm.
federal government control over it, that it was to remain open to the public and
Yes.
all of that. But so now, but I'm referring back to the verbiage when they were saying, well, they don't have the funding for it. That's why he's killing the turtle program, because the turtle program was the funding that kept that park going
Hmm.
with all the vehicles, this, that, and now they're just wasting away there because he's not allowing the funding to maintain those vehicles and to keep it going the way it was originally doing. So he's breaking it apart piece by piece. He's dismantling the program, which keeps the park alive. So what's the end game? Is what I ask. That I revert back to that leak. They didn't have the funding to maintain the
Yeah.
park, so they sold it to it.
So if they don't have the funding, how do you want to operate it? Then
Exactly.
shut it down and bring it back, give it back to Texas.
Yes. So that's in the original
Yeah.
paperwork, that it reverts back to Texas. It's just that
Yes.
why should we have to get to that point? And then once he's destroyed everything, then we got to start from basically ground zero again and start working
Again.
our way back. He's going to kill over 50, 60 years of hard work
Work.
that, was put into the turtle program,
Yep.
and Donna Shaver, she did an amazing job of
Yes.
doing this. And it's
Hmm.
heartbreaking. I mean, I'm not.
It is.
I'll be honest. I'm
It
not a
is.
turtle person. I'm not. I love looking at them. I love the movies, but they're a pain in the butt when we're fishing. But I'm not. I don't wish ill will to them.
No,
I'm a
definitely.
protect. I'm a protector of the environment. But again, too, when
Yes.
they're eating my bait that wasn't for them, it's a little bit annoying. It's a bycatch I don't like, but I'm not going to do no more harm than is already done. Like, I've saved multiple turtles and stuff like that. But again, too, I will stop what I'm doing to give them the helping hand up, because that's what we do as true fishing, fishermen, and or what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, where we're maintaining our natural environments and stuff. Good custodian. There you go.
Stewards of what
Stewards.
we
Yes.
have. Stewards of what
Yes.
we have. Definitely not. And we have to be. You know,
Hmm.
with freedom comes responsibility as well. Yeah, and this is the thing, and this is what a lot of people do not understand. Um, well, not a lot. Some people do not understand. For example, I came from Chenier Energy. That's big industry. And a lot of people attack big industry. Oh, you guys don't protect the environment, which is not true. I can tell you, for our company, or the company that I work for, Chenier, they're over it constantly, watching emissions reports. They create reports daily to make sure they're always in compliance. They
Mm.
always making sure that nothing, not a drop of anything, gets in the water, because that's you create chaos with a drop of any liquid that's not supposed to be in the water. Any drop, you have to report it within 24 hours. So those industries work to protect the environment a lot.
Mm.
uh, Same thing here. Uh, a lot of the people that go into Padre Island National Seashore, it's not to destroy it; it's to enjoy it, but also to take care of it, be good stewards and protect it.
Yes, sir.
With that freedom comes a lot of responsibility, and I know you guys do a great job on that.
So, with that being said, what are you thinking, or what are your thoughts on the Inner Harbor desal program that the city of Corpus Christi is trying to do here while discharging the brine back into an already over salinated area? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
And which project are you talking about? The Inner Harbor?
The Inner Harbor, yes.
Of all of them, I think that was my least favorite.
Mm.
And I'm not an expert on that whatsoever, because and the reason it was my least favorite is because you have a channel which there's no flow. There's a net dead end.
Hold on, hold on just a second. I think the phone is overheating a little bit. Give me a second. Let me turn on my city fan. All right. All right. My my shop cat over here is getting really comfortable. We actually rescued her back in December. She was hiding in the crack in the wall on the side of the highway. Like she was that she fit in
Oh,
the palm of my
wow.
hand. And one of my workers saw her and he's like, "There's a cat in that crack." And we're like, and we thought he was playing with us. We're having a meeting here, and he runs out and he comes back and he's holding this little cat. Like she's like, she, with her claws out, like she was gonna rip us up, but she was too small, and so I was like, well, and we had saved her right before it started freezing and all of that too. So now she's
Look at that.
so
Look at that.
so we got a shop cat over here. But no, all right, boss. No, I hate. Sorry to interrupt you, but I'd rather talk
So
about that while it's glitching than missing what you're saying. So
yes, so it is my least favorite. That one's my least favorite, and as I said, I'm not an expert whatsoever. But if you bring in the water to get it through the system, and then you push out brine into the channel again, so there's no flow of water. So what happens at some point? When you get all the water out and you only put brine back, so is it going to be brine, and then what? As I said, I'm not an expert of anything on that. So to me, that's a concern. And someone mentioned to me, well, we did a comparison to the one in Tampa Bay, Florida. It is kind of the same. From the channel and to the ocean is about 20 some miles, and that's usually what it is from in here in Corpus Christi. From the channel to the ocean is about 20 some miles. The only difference, I did some research on that, and I was measuring our channel, which is about 500 feet wide, and I was
mhm.
measuring in Tampa Bay, it's 10 miles wide. I'm like, wait a minute, you failed to tell me that, because 10 miles, the brine is able to disperse
Yes,
into 10 miles of a lot of water, but in 500 feet, you don't have a lot where to disperse.
yeah,
So so for that reason, I don't think that was my favorite location. I think the one on Harbor Island, but of course he's farther out. But
mm,
yeah, you're able to discharge way inside the ocean when you can have, you give uh, the brine plenty of water to disperse and just balance out eventually.
yes.
You
So
know.
real quick, a few things that I know that I can share.
Yes.
Um, they're also doing a lot of research right now because a lot of sawfish were actually dying in Florida in that bay system. So
Really?
they haven't came out publicly and said that it's a
Mm.
resort it's from that. But again, too, that has never happened before. Like all these sawfish were dying, and it was big news for about 6 months. All these fish would just came up and they would just die, and they had no idea as to why. But it's connected to that same bay system. Okay,
Mm.
so there's one. Two, like you said, that the bay system that they're in has a lot of moving water in the whole deal.
Yeah.
Our Bay of Corpus Christi actually has the Death Triangle. During the summer, there's no water moving enough to get oxygen all through the bay. So we have what brown tide
Oh.
that kills a big area in that bay. It's a dead triangle. There's no fish, no
Yeah.
growth, no nothing. So when I went to the TCEQ meeting and I brought that up, they had never heard of it. Like they had the deer in the headlight look like just like you did right there, but they looked at each other. They didn't have a single thing to come back and or to rebuttal or anything. They were quiet enough for me to sit there and said, "Wow, like y'all really have no idea what the hell y'all are talking about." But you're going to tell me that you're up here for the right reason? Y'all haven't done the due diligence. I'm a fisherman. I'm like you. I don't understand the true logistics of this and that, but I understand the little things. Small area, very little inflow. What happens outside that area? Because I fished here all my life. So you can't tell me any different because I've seen it for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. I've been fishing here all my life.
Yep. Yep.
And so, yeah, I want to know that if we are looking for new people to take the helm and to truly love our environment, because if
Mm.
it doesn't, we're stuck. I mean, we're going to vote
Yeah.
into people into that environment that are selling it out, and then they're going to make their money and they're going to move on, and we're going to be stuck with what's left over.
Yep.
And
That's true.
many of us don't have the money to say, you know what? Well, I'll just and move away. We don't have. I want to say 90% of the people here cannot just sit there and say, you know what, I'll just move somewhere else.
Yeah.
But
No, it's not. It's not that easy.
I guarantee you, all the people that are voting for this can. Hmm.
Mm.
Food for thought. Just
Yeah.
what? Um,
So, and that's the thing, that's what in politics people do not understand the power that a voter has. You, if you guys gather and get together, you guys can make changes. Don't let Austin tell you who to vote for. Don't let Washington D.C. to tell you who to vote for. No, you guys know better the region than anybody else in D.C. or in Austin because you guys live here. This is your livelihood. This is where day in day out you're dealing with your community, working, fishing, whatever it is that you do. But it is your community you know the best. Not from Washington D.C., not from Austin, Texas, from right here in your neighborhood. So you guys have that power to do a lot coming together, of course.
exploding that point with a nuke right there, guys. This is why I finally got some politics into the channel because as a fisherman, if I sat there and stayed quiet with all the things that I've been learning throughout the years of being in business, because when I finally opened up my shop from working in my garage to actually opening a shop, I've had to run into all of these things. Well, I'm paying taxes on this. Well, why am I paying taxes on that? What is that doing? Like,
Yep.
where's my money going? And so
Yep.
I keep my biggest thing now is I had to figure a way to get the point across, and I think I nailed it the other night. If you enjoy paying higher taxes, you enjoy paying higher light bill, higher this, higher that, then don't go vote because the
Hmm.
people that are voting are the ones that want all of that because that's how they make their money. And he's right. A
Yep.
majority of us here have the power to make real change, but you got to get off your butt and go
Exactly.
vote.
So this is the thing, and I learned this a long time ago. You either watch things happen or you make things happen. You get involved and
Amen.
do something, or sit down and just watch things developing before your eyes, and you might not be happy because you had no input whatsoever.
When you could have. So then you have
Exactly.
this is your ability to sit there and say, I don't like this. and this is where I stand on it. But if you
Hmm.
sit back and you let it all happen,
Don't complain.
don't complain. Well, I tell people
Don't
all the time.
complain.
I don't want to hear you complain. I had about 8 people in my shop a little while ago, and they were talking about, well, we're going to run into this over here at Bob Hall Pier because all those people that, they're retired and they always go to the meetings. And I was like, well, why haven't you gone? How many meetings have you gone to? Well, I said, well, then don't complain because I know I've
Mhm.
told you about the meetings. Well, I'm going fishing. So fishing was more important to you then, but now that those changes are here, you don't like them. I don't want to hear you complain. I said, me, I was telling everybody I knew because I knew I was stuck here. Like I had to either pay my bills or not be able to feed my family kind of deal. So I was stuck here, but you chose to go fishing. If I had the day off that day and I chose to go fishing, then I can't complain. There's
Mhm.
a, there, you know,
Yep.
if you choose
Yep.
more, you got to sacrifice a little bit. It does take some
Oh
sacrifice.
no, definitely. You got to
And,
put things in motion.
yes.
Period. But sitting down just watching things happen, that's not gonna do anything. You got to be
Oh, that
involved.
sucks. That sucks.
You
Well,
you got to be
go and
involved.
do
You got to
something.
engage. Period.
Yes.
And this is the thing. People think, oh, my vote doesn't count. Oh, yes, it counts. I was listening to this guy. What's his name? His last name is Iglesias. He is a lawyer, an attorney. He was a naval officer. Remember that movie with no, Tom Cruise, that he was a lawyer and he's grilling this general about a Marine general. Okay, he was
A few
part
good
of
men.
A Few Good Men. That's right, A Few Good Men. He was
Yeah.
part of that in real life. That was an actual case. He was part of that case,
Wow.
and he was telling me he lived in Arizona, and he was telling me that in the county where they live or the city where they live, his mom had mentioned something. Oh, I'm not gonna go vote because it doesn't make a difference. Some election. So and he convinced her, go vote, mom, go vote. And she went and vote. So at the end of the election, they were doing the so close, the difference was one vote.
Wow.
And they had to do a recount and a recount because no, this is too close. Let's do it recount again. And recount, one vote difference, and this person won. I'm like, okay, recount again. One vote difference, and same person won. Like that vote that she made, that she decided, "Oh, okay, let me go vote. That made a whole difference. So every single vote counts.
Yeah,
Trust
because
me,
if
it
not,
does.
have you seen where they do the coin flip or something like to choose a winner? They on a flip of a coin. Like, don't let that happen, guys. Like
Mhm.
this is something
You have
that,
a say. You have power.
yeah, this is one of the things that Rachel Caballero was bringing up. Like, there's so
Yes.
many people that choose not to vote because they feel that way.
Hmm.
Well, you're gonna keep feeling that way until you get out and do something
But
about
even, and I love Rachel. She's amazing. But
it.
even in that same thing that you're saying, same thing happens in politics. There would be great people out there wanting to run for Congress. They just don't want to do it because it is so nasty. It is so toxic. The minute you go in, there's all the opponents are finding ways how to undermine who you are, how to discredit who you are, making up lies, all these things. I have experienced that, but one of the things I've decided to do, like, I want to be a difference. I want, someone asked me last week, what legacy do you want to leave behind? I like to see the way we do politics, where there's no more negativity and it's all positive, and let people do the other candidates do what they need to do, but let me do what I need to do. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. I don't have to attack them, and I'm not gonna attack them because what's the point of that? There's no one. There's no honor. You don't honor God with that behavior. There's no honor in winning votes like that. Uh, Instead of just tearing each other apart and how bad that person is. Yeah, but what about you? Tell me something about you. No, it's always about how bad the other is like this. I don't see
Yes.
that. I don't like that at all.
Well, that's gonna be one thing that about my channel. Um, I hit a deal, and I was like, you know what? I saw a video blow up. One of my videos, it went through the roof. million something, 2 million views on it, but it was because somebody on there was angry at the way we fished, and so they just kept downing us, and so we would rebuttal, but we did it respectfully. We weren't trying
Mhm.
to sit there and be angry about it. We were trying to get an understanding where they come from, because that's the type of platform I want. I want have. If you don't agree with me, cool. Let's talk about it.
Yes.
Let me speak. You speak, and we speak as adults. And at the end of the day, if we still can't agree, cool. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, there's
But I'm
nothing wrong
not.
with that.
But I'm not going to sit there and just well, yeah, no, 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 no. That's
So one of the things that that people have said about me, oh well, I don't know about Luis because he doesn't give a fight. He's not. Hey, I'm sorry. Don't confuse meekness with weakness. I'm not weak. Man, I just thought I want to take you back in time, Mr. McGee. Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I get angry. Remember that show? It's kind of like that. I could be like that. I choose not to be like that. Honestly,
yeah.
I don't want to waste energy in drama. That's not me. Be
Mm,
screaming and making a spectacle. Like, no, let's talk like adults. Let's have respect. Let's have decorum because that's something we're losing in Congress.
mm,
I watched hearings where they're using foul language. I'm like, what happened? You know, we were the greatest country on earth, and then we're using this kind of language in our government, like in public, televised.
mm.
That's just not what America used to be, and we need to bring it back to the way it was. Period.
Yes,
With
sir. No,
respect and decorum.
having respect and decorum. Yes, sir. Um, I just wanted to kind of touch base on one thing. What
Yep.
about like this open border policy and the closed borders and stuff like that? What are your thoughts on that?
So I think if you don't have a border policy, you need to have borders because that's what defines you as a country,
Mm,
and you got to protect it. Period. America is not anti-immigration. It is. I came from Mexico, but there's ways to do it.
yes.
Every year, our government admits 1 million people by law.
Mm,
Those are the numbers that by statute or were given to the Department of State. Hey, there's different categories: jobs, marriage, where you petition parents or brothers, sisters, things like. There's different categories. So overall, all of that is 1 million people a year. They get legalized in our country. So we're not anti-immigration. You're welcome to come here. There's a right way to do it. You want asylum? Don't cross to the river because there's no way legally to give you asylum. You have to go to the port of entry.
yes.
Go through one of the bridges. Hey, I'm escaping my country because of this situation,
Yes.
and they will take you in. But if you cross the bridge, you cross the river or come illegally, then that's an issue.
Mm,
Uh, when it comes to all the ice raids and all of that, look, they're used to do a job. They didn't put the laws. Their job is to execute the laws. If you don't like
mm,
the laws, talk to your member of Congress. Period.
right.
Because they are the ones who make the laws. So
Mm,
if you want to change the law, it's not going and screaming at the agent doing his job. That's not the way it works.
right on.
You're just escalating a situation that doesn't have to be like that. Let them do their job. Don't get involved. Don't do not interfere. Do not interfere with law enforcement. Um their job when they're doing their job. They're there to do a job. They're there to have a mission. Do not interfere because then that you escalate things, and then they're concerned about you because they're trying to do their job, but they have to be watching you because they don't know who you are. They don't know your intentions. Do you have a weapon? Because they're not gonna search you, but they don't
Yeah.
know that you have a weapon. At the end of the day, those guys also want to go home to their
Yeah.
families.
Yeah.
We're just human beings. But just we're doing a different job. So do not. My thing is do not interfere.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like the way things they've done things, all right, you can report them. And trust me,
Mm,
federal agents, they have an office of professional responsibility, and
yes.
man, they get in trouble. Trust
Hmm.
me, they do get in trouble. And and if they do something wrong, they will do an internal investigation. And if they found guilty, they'll pay the price. You know, a lot of them
Yeah.
lose their jobs. But
Mhm.
screaming at them and pushing them around, like, that's not gonna help anybody. You
Yeah.
know, stay. Just let them do their job. You have the right to record. Yes, don't interfere on their operations. Step
Yep.
away, record all you want, get your proof. If you see they did something wrong, take a
Yeah.
video,
Put it
take it to the
right
authorities.
here. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I,
yes.
that was one of the biggest. My daughter, she's in elementary, and as I was growing up as a child, we grew up Democratic because that's the
Hmm.
way our parents kind of voted. So you just did what your parents did.
Yeah,
They didn't really explain it, but other than, well, the Republicans are for rich people. It's only a rich people thing. That's the way it was explained to me when I was real young. And now that I've gotten older, and I stayed out of politics, even when I joined the Marine Corps at 18, didn't really pay attention to politics. I didn't start voting till I was 20. No, take that
32.
back. I was in my high 30s, 35, 36 is the first time I
Wow.
voted.
Wow.
And it was like, I still didn't understand like which way I was voting. But
Hmm.
the second time when I voted, now I kind of paid attention to what was going on. And then now, like, I'm paying more attention to what's going on.
Yes.
And so my daughter, when I was talking about, well, I voted for Trump, and well, why would you vote for him? I said, well, why wouldn't I, man? Like, she's in elementary, so I give her the floor to explain why. Well, my friends don't like her. I said, well, why don't your friends like her? Well, because he's doing ICE and he's taking away their families. I was like, or splitting up their families. I'm like, well, Mija, what's the difference between an adult who's drinking and driving with their child? What happens with the parent when they get pulled over? Well, they take away the kids.
Yep.
So what's the difference with an illegal immigrant who's breaking the law to be here and they get caught? What do you think? She goes, well, but they're still taking them away. So I said, so it's okay to keep these lawbreakers together, but an American citizen, it's okay for them to split them up from their kids too. Well, I said, no,
Uh-huh.
think on it, man. Like really think
That's
on it
good.
because
That's awesome.
we're paying to be. We live here. We're fighting for our country. I mean, I served
Hmm.
in the Marine Corps. I don't want people jumping the back fence to come through your window in the middle of the night. I said, I'm gonna be honest. I'm probably gonna shoot them. I'm not even gonna ask questions. I'm gonna shoot because I'm
Hmm.
gonna protect my family. I'm protecting my house.
That's your job.
What if they need help? I said, well, they can come through the front gate, come to my front door. Hey, I
Hmm.
need some help. Gotcha. You wait right there because even then they're asking for help. I'm not letting you in my house.
Oh no.
I'm going to get the authorities. I'm going to call. Oh, okay. I'll call 911. Well, somebody's after me. You're fine here. I'm allowing you to be in my yard. Now, the next person that comes in is probably going to get shot because then you've already put me on edge that somebody's chasing you or trying to hurt you. Well, if they get to them, what's to say they're not going to try it coming after us for helping you out?
Yep.
And she
That.
looked. She goes, well, okay. And I said, so we're not saying you can't come and ask for help. We're not saying you can't come into my yard and come to my front door. We're just saying don't go through the back fence, try to break into my back window of my daughter's room asking for
Just.
help. If you need help, there's a proper way to do it.
Yep.
And then you will
Wow. That's
get
a
the
great
help.
way to put it. That's a great way to put it.
And she sat there for a while and she was quiet. And so I just kind of let it, sit on her and stuff because, she's 11 years old.
Hmm.
And she goes, Dad, that's probably, you're right. Like, if we're not saying no, but we want you to do it the right way. I said,
The
that's
right
all
way,
the
and that's
president
it.
wants.
We're asking. That's all
That's
we're
all we're
asking.
asking. We're not saying no, just you got to do it the right way because there's a lot of bad people out there.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
when you meet somebody new, do you know if they're bad? She goes, well, no. I said, what takes?
Exactly.
Well, you got to get to know them. You got to learn their history. You got to ask these questions, and it don't happen in 1 second.
No. Oh no.
And so I've had to talk with her, and
Good.
I've had to talk with my older ones too because I feel that if I don't get them introduced to politics, I'm not trying to tell them how to think. I'm just giving them options of how to look at things so that way they get an understanding. Well,
Yep.
and the older ones, oh, well, this and that, and they try, but we can sit there and talk without yelling, without this,
Yes.
and
But
without getting
and the
angry. And,
important thing, Alberto, is that you're explaining, you're giving them information.
Mhm.
It's not like Mike in our times. You're doing it because I'm telling you to do so. I'm like, that doesn't help me. That doesn't build me. That doesn't help me in my brain or my thought process when you're just because that's what you're used to tell your kids to do. Like, yeah, explain why. Give me the why. That's
Yes.
when you give your kids the why. This is the right thing to do. This is a better. You're teaching them to process things differently and not just take things for like from anybody. Like, you believe that? Okay, but why? Let me understand. Let me try to dig deeper and find where you're coming from instead of just taking it for granted. Are your word like, no, no? Is think, process,
Yes.
and make your own decision. But don't just because I said so you're gonna do this. Like, no, that doesn't work. That's just lazy parenting, I guess. But you're
That's
doing a
it.
great job. Honestly, that's awesome.
I'm trying to do the best, and that's about all we can do because there ain't
That's
no
all we can
manual
do.
out there that really explains that this is the proper way to do it because
No.
every individual is different. Every individual will take things differently or have a different way of thinking to apply
Mhm.
it and stuff like that. And that's the same with us with fishing. Like people, well, what do you use? Well, I use this, and they go, God, like, isn't that overkill? I was like, well, let me explain why I do what I do. And I
There
explain,
you
and they're
go.
like, well, I like to do it like this. Well, I'm not saying you can't do it like that. You asked me what I do. So now what do you do? How do you
That's your
fish? Now
preference.
let's get to, and then we started, and then I'll try, like, if they're running into a problem and I explain why they ran into it, they're like, well, God, like, now that makes sense. I'm just like, there's I've done it. Trust me,
Let
I've made your mistakes plenty of times.
lessons learned is called.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so I'm gonna check in with the chat real quick, just kind
Yep.
of little things. So we see Sharkotic, we got Hurting for Sturgeon, Daniel Garcia, Eaton Mays. He says Vance Rubio for 2028. I don't know who that is. So no, Vance,
JD Vance,
JD
Vice
Vance.
President.
Okay, yeah,
Rubio is Secretary of State.
Roger that. Okay,
Former Senator from Florida.
those guys in Florida are tearing it up. That yeah. There's a lot of things in the country that are moving in the right direction,
Yep.
but I hate to say it has taken too long to get there,
It
and
is. It
a,
is
a,
taking too long.
a lot of innocent lives have been lost. A lot of things, it's crazy. Like, I got out of the Marine Corps back in 2002. I served in the Marine Corps from 98 to 02. So I've seen the September 11th, deal happen. And, I was prepared, because I signed that check,
Yep.
open ended check with my name on it. And so when I got out for decades, like, I didn't want to have a weapon, didn't feel a need to. Um, but as things progressed, it started getting to where I felt like I needed to. And that's a very scary situation for me. I guess he's having some technical difficulties. Can you still hear us, boss?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
And I don't know
Uh,
why he got the screen got. I received a
okay.
call and I ended a call and he just threw me.
Okay. Hold on real quick. Let me try something and then give me a second. Okay. On your phone, uh, flip the maybe flip the screen around. You see the
There you go.
arrow and
Yep.
anything happen?
Yeah. I'm back. Oh no,
Okay. No.
you don't see me.
No, I don't see it. Let me try it again on my side over here. Give me a second. Okay. Nope, I don't have it. What we could do is, if you get out of YouTube, like, close the screen real quick and then get back in. It might get you back in it if on your phone, and if it doesn't, then you can leave the chat and then go through the link again, and I'll just reinvite you in.
Okay.
What's up, Tiger? So I'm sitting here, Tiger's listening on the conversation, deep in thought over here. So there
There
you
you
are.
go. Okay.
Roger that. So it for me to go to that extreme that I felt I needed to start arming myself and stuff like that to protect my family, my business, anywhere I may be, is a it's sad for me because when I got out of the Marine Corps, like I really didn't feel the urge or need to step to that level. And when I had to step to that level and start investing money into this and that, I'm like, our country's heading in the wrong direction. Like
Mm-hmm.
that, and the little things that I see that we need to do as a country is one, unite, but for
Exactly.
the greater good of America. Not, and again, we're not saying we're built on immigrants. Don't get
Oh,
me wrong.
yes. Yeah.
My family originated from Spain. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that. What I am saying is come through the front door,
And assimilate to
and
Americans'
that's
values.
big. That's a big one right there. Yes, assimilate. You came to America to be an American.
Yep.
If you
Mm-hmm.
if you want to be whatever country you want to do, I'm not saying forget your history. I'm proud of
No,
my
no.
history, but you're in America. You need to
And
learn
what
English.
if you
You
don't
need to
like
love.
if you don't like it here? Why do you come here in the first place? Assimilate. Period.
Mm.
You know, if you don't like the way America is, well, go somewhere else. But this is America. Assimilate to our values or our way of living. Period. We're not asking much because if I go to your country, I'm gonna try to assimilate over there if I wanted to be there. If I
If
don't
you want
like
to
it, well,
survive,
let me go back
if
to
you
where I
want to
come from.
survive, you're going to assimilate because
Exactly.
you don't get the same freedoms you got here in
Oh
different
no.
countries.
Oh no.
Uh,
Oh
we've
no.
we've seen many of those guys that go, you come to our country, you do that, you're dead. Like
Yep.
you're dead.
Oh
Like
yes.
and that's not just from Mexico. That was from the Ukraine. That was from this. Because I mean, YouTube, and they tell you they're in this country, and if you pull that crap there,
Yep.
you're done. You're done. There's no second chance. There's no hey, don't hurt me. I'm gonna catch it on
Mm-mm.
video. Like you're done.
Oh, they don't care.
Yep, yep. So wow, this is. Do you think, or actually, how about this? And I had the perfect way to ask it, and I'm totally.
Take your time. Take your time.
It's been a long day, but with everything the way it's going, and if we were to get the right people voted into office, where do you see us going as a country in the next few years?
Well, one of the things that I think we need to really pay attention to and do something about is our spending. We're $38 trillion in debt, and we got to really make very difficult decisions. How do we move forward with that? How do we cut that? How do we rein in? The bigger the government, the more spending you're going to have, but you only have the same base. So you got to
Yep.
really pay attention to, we get on revenue $4.9 trillion a year, but we spend 6.8. Oh, how does that, how does that even, how do you guys do that over there? I don't understand.
Well,
It
you
doesn't
don't
make
think they
sense.
buy a $30,000 toilet and a $30,000 hammer? Independence Day 4, he nailed it when he
Yeah.
said that. And so, with that being said, I'm in total agreement with that because with what Trump's doing, and exposing all
The
the fraud
abuse
that's going
or the
on, all
fraud.
the
Yes.
abuse, yes. And so when that's coming to light, it's just like now it makes sense to me because I've seen areas where, oh, we got $30 million to help out these people over here. Yet 2 years later, they're still in that same situation they were when they were supposed to have gotten $30 million. I couldn't understand how is that like how did they get $30 million of our taxpayer money? Yet 2 years later, they're asking for more money, and they show the same, and nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed. Where is the money going?
Exactly. And so now they're saying, well, okay. After $30 million, this senator got 10 million because they started the bill. This senator got 5 million because they co-signed on the bill. This other senator got this because they did it. So in the end of the day, $30 million got dwindled down to $200,000 that they actually got. So now it makes sense. Okay, now I understand why that country is still the way it is 2 years later. Because $200,000 to help out $1 million problem or $10 million problem is not going to help.
Yeah,
And
even I remember that when I was with Congressman Cloud, he went to a hotel somewhere in Africa, and or he was talking with them. No, no, no. Someone from Africa came. Some missionaries came from Africa to Congress, and they told him, "Do not give us money. Do not give us money to the country because it goes all the way to terrorists. It goes all the way to all these other groups fighting against us." That's what they were doing with the money that we were giving them, giving money to terrorists.
wow. Well, where do you stand on all? I mean, obviously you stated about the spending and all of that stuff. What what kind of things are you looking forward to helping push as you become a congressman?
Yeah, so when it comes to foreign aid, it's important. I know that under the previous administration, they abused their powers, and they gave money like crazy, millions and millions to promote LGBTQs agendas in whatever country. Like, what the heck do we have to do with that? Makes no sense. When it comes to foreign aid, one, I'm in favor of foreign aid as long as it's tied to our national security. Period. It has to make sense, and there needs to be some national interest on our behalf. Otherwise, no. Sorry. And let me give an example. When we went into Afghanistan in 2001, what do you think we our operating base started at? Uzbekistan. Why? Because we were giving money to Uzbekistan, and then when the time came to, hey, I know we're giving you money. Can we use some of your airports because we need to start going and flying people into Afghanistan? They say, yeah, of course. Why? If they say no, well, so much for the funding, not anymore, and they
Right.
will be hurting. So it has to make sense. We need to protect our interests abroad because I know there's some idea of pulling out of certain areas, but we have to be really careful and think it through really well before we do that, because every time we leave a country or a place or a region, we generate a void. And who's
Yep.
feeling that void right now?
They are.
China.
Mhm.
China is taking over a lot of places.
Oh,
Africa,
okay.
I'll
You
give
mean
you,
filling the void with? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So we started pulling out of Africa from the continent of Africa many years ago. Who filled that void? China. So out of the 54 countries that we have in the continent of Africa, they built from 2010 to 2016, they built 46 ports. And then from 2016 to 2020 something, another 80 more, I think. So do I have an issue with that? That we do. I do. Why? That's a national security issue in terms of mobility. If at some point we ever have to go to Africa to whatever it is, where are we going to put our ships?
Yeah.
China's not going to let us. So how do we
Mhm.
get our equipment, our materials there if we don't have that leverage to do so? That's my issue. China built 75% of the 4G network in the whole continent of Africa. And I think they built 100% of the 5G network. We are absent of Africa. Now, more students from Africa go to China to study college instead of coming to the US. So what happens? They get into a different ideology than we have. So we have to be careful with that. Mexico, China flooded. Um, the market with electric vehicles. But there was a caveat: you cannot return it back to China, and they flood, and no one's buying them. So Mexico is stuck with all those cars that no one wants to buy.
Mm.
So that there's a lot of things when it comes to foreign aid and intervention in and having presence abroad. Here we have to cut our spending. There's a lot of things that should we really do that? We're messing with the future of our kids, man.
Yeah,
Why are we
yeah.
paying so much taxes? Why are we
Some of
spending
that
2 trillions
stuff
more?
at the end of the way I honestly feel a lot of the way this is going is how the devil is spread.
Hmm.
Because marriage between a man and a woman,
Oh yes,
it goes back to that. But now you have this transgenderism and this and that, and
the
so many
woke
people are
movement.
dying because they are feeling that they should be that they're okay, that we should assimilate to their way of life or their
No,
mental status,
no,
and for them to be pushing that onto kids who have no
that's
idea
wrong.
what they're doing is how the, the evil is spreading, and that's how these people were making it spread to other countries.
Yep,
So
yep,
when I hear about the spending and all of that, it's just like wow, they thought of things like these are some serious
yeah, yes.
areas where the fraud is so huge. I mean, we call it fraud, but it's evil.
Hmm.
It's evil that is spreading, and we're paying for it. And if we don't put a stop to it, we are going to lose our way of life. I mean, look at Dearborn, Michigan, and then
Yes.
I just saw something today about Austin that I don't know if the video is real, but I was like, we were just there this weekend, and they were talking about hundreds of Muslims out in the middle of the street, blockaded it and stuff like that. And I was like, that's real close. I mean, that's a couple hours down the street.
Yep.
And if we don't start watching and doing the right thing and paying attention, guys, you got to pay attention to the fine print. Every
Always.
contract, every single contract
Always.
you sign, the fine print is what gets you.
Yep.
Wow. And right now that you so when you asked it about the void question, I thought, and the way I think it was when well, what happens when there's a void created like that? I automatically assume that those countries turn to like uh, the criminal life because then they had all this income that was coming from the United States because our military personnel were there spending American dollars in their country, and now you pulled all of that away. How do they fill that gap? So I was thinking, the drug dealers
Hmm.
and all of that come in and take over and fill that. And
Oh,
again, when you shared a bit more knowledge to me, so that's why I kind of said, "Oh, okay, now I understand where you were going with
yeah.
that."
So
So
notice, China has been selling weapons to Venezuela, Chile, Colombia, Argentina. You know, why are they operating in our backyard? That was U.S. where used to offer training, equipment, weapons. Now it's not
mhm.
us anymore. You know, so that's a concern. Especially for me, like we cannot let China get to that level where they can control and say what's going to happen, because that would be a different world.
Big
um
time.
yeah,
Big.
so we need to really, you know I know that the new, I think President Trump wants to more of a isolate, which I understand why. Yeah, we need America first by all means. We need to think for America first, but also God first. If we put God first, things will fall in place. But it's gonna be a process.
Yep.
Uh, but we really need to take care of America, but also not isolate, because we still need to have a say and use that as a leverage overseas as well.
Yep.
We
And and I like the way he's doing it. He is making it to where we're not no longer being taken advantage of. But
Good. I love
everything,
that. I love
every
that.
and you nailed it. He puts God first. Like he
Yes.
thanked God in front of an
Yes.
American public, and that is important to me because if you actually look back through a lot of these presidents and their speeches, you don't see it. You don't
Hmm.
hear that from them. They're not strong. I don't think they have a strong faith in it as he does. And so it's hard for me to swallow when they say, well, he's done this, he's done that, he's done that. Well, if they really had the proof, the Epstein files, if they had the
Uh-huh.
proof during the Biden administration, they would have moved everything to use their corrupt judges and they would have exposed just him
Yeah,
during
but
that time frame.
and that's the thing. When people say, "Oh, he was part of it," no, if he was part of it, he would have been exposed even before in the 2020 election, or he could have been exposed in the 2024 election,
Yep.
because
Yep.
in order to discredit Trump and get him out of the way. But that didn't happen because he wasn't part of that. And that's what people don't understand. But
So,
I know there's a lot of people in government that are part of that.
yeah. Sharkotic has a question. What about the $70 million military base expansion in Kenya? I think that's a good idea. Or are you asking, does he think it's a good idea?
So this is Kenya. Kenya is in West Africa. Um, no, 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 no. Let me get my bearings. No,
I'm
that's
going to research
Nigeria.
it.
No, that's Nigeria. Kenya is on the east side, over here by Tanzania, north of Tanzania, Nairobi, Kenya. Yeah. Uh, Boko Haram operates there. So do we want to have presence? They've been attacking a lot of Christian schools and in Kenya, a lot of Christian communities and even American people there. Uh, so should we have a presence? Probably to stop terrorism. Probably so. Same thing now in the north part of Africa. Not so much to the north, but there's an area called the Sahel area. There's there's a lot of conflict in that area. That's just breeding terrorism every day. And we need to we need to be paying attention to the Sahel as well.
Yes.
But because of terrorism, if we don't attack it, it's not gonna die. We gotta stop it, and we gotta stop those grounds where they're just breeding terrorists left and right.
Yes.
And same thing in Kenya with Boko Haram. We have to stop what they're doing. You know.
Yeah. That was actually a really good question, Sharkotic. I was seeing that, and I was amazed at the amount of people that were dying over there because they were Christians.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, for if that was something that President Trump did, he did it because to save lives. I mean, at the
Hmm.
end of the day, we're so many people come to our country with different beliefs. You don't see us killing them out in the middle of the street or
Uh-huh.
anything like that, other than okay, there's some Muslim communities like Sharia law. That is a no go. That I'm sorry.
No.
That's a
No.
no go here in America, and even across. Like I don't agree with it. Like they can do so much harm to their own people. What makes you think they're going to change if they get allowed here? What do you think they're going to do to us? Like we're not even
Yeah.
part of their law.
They're,
We
they're,
are less than their law. Like I yeah.
yeah. I don't think that's the thing. Terrorists will not change. And uh, I was listening to a former agency lady. She was a targeting officer, and she was saying that there's already groups, probably over 1,000 people, terrorists already in the U.S.
I believe it.
and 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 talking with a different friend who was also an agency guy, he was saying, yeah, there's about 414 groups already, different cells throughout the U.S. ready to execute whatever they have planned. and it could happen. And when it happens, they're what they've been saying is their job is not to surrender. Their job is to die whenever they're doing this. So
Hmm.
surrender is not going to be an option. So they're going to die until they kill or they get killed. Period. So they're not going to stop. Remember back in, oh my goodness, when was it? 2009, Mumbai, India, the terrorist attack that happened. That some terrorist group came from a boat, went into downtown Mumbai, started killing people randomly, and they burned a hotel and all of that. That could happen in any city. They could get AKs and they start walking downtown, big events, and start shooting left and right with no concern until they get killed. That's what they're planning. That they're trying to undermine our medical systems by having hundreds of casualties to overwhelm the medical community, the medical facilities. That people are just gonna die because there was not gonna be anybody to be able to take care of them because of the amount of people that are going to be hurt. So that's what people need to understand, that we need to. I rather take the battle to the terrorists over there than here, because
Right. Yeah.
remember a few years ago I had applied for a job at CIA, and on my interview we were talking about. They asked me some issue, some of the questions. So, what would I do? What would I take care of or pay attention to? And I told them Sahel. Sahel is number one. You guys let people get elevate and get strong and powerful within the ranks of terrorists. That at some they get to a certain level that what they do, they just hide them, and it's going to be so hard to find them. Don't let them get to that level. Take them out before he gets there, because then they're going to be sheltered, and they're going to be guarded so much that you won't be able to find them that easily anymore. So take care of these guys over there. So do I agree? Should we spend the 70 million somewhere else? Probably, but at the same time, we got to understand that they're not going to stop. And if we don't do something about it, they're going to keep growing and training and getting ready to come and attack us here.
Yes. Yeah. Without a doubt. Well, boss, I know it's pretty late.
I know.
I'm in no rush over here, but
Yeah.
uh, I do want to thank you for giving us the opportunity here
Yes,
to
this
talk,
is
because I
great, man.
know
I love this.
the I can't imagine the amount of things you have to do in order to prepare for this. But the biggest thing, like I said, I'm going to boil this back down to why I brought politics into my channel, guys. And it's because if we don't get involved,
Hmm.
we're going to lose out on our way of life, whether it be fishing, whether it be our communities, whether it be our businesses that we're trying to grow, or jobs that we work for now. And
Yep.
so by being able to communicate with people who are running for office and stuff like that, I think it's truly important. So that way we get a
Yes.
real idea of who you are, because a lot of times you're trying to hit on all these points, to please the masses. Because
No.
obviously you're trying, well, not mean please the masses, like try to make them happy. You're trying to do the right things that are going to get you the votes to get you into office.
Hmm.
And it's in the proper way, because that's how you get voted in. You're going for you're fighting for the right reasons that are going to get you there from the masses is what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
And
and
it's
and that's
not
the
me.
thing.
Oh, I'm going to give everybody $1,000 and go vote for me. No,
No, no,
that's what
and
I don't
yes,
mean that.
no, true.
What I mean
But
is
but yes, this is my heart. My heart is for the people, and my heart is, everything is local. I got to listen to the local people, and a friend of mine from the island told me about there's conversations about wanting to close vehicle access to pins. Like, wait a minute, uh-uh, that's
Mhm.
not part of the agreement when it was founded established back in the 60s. Like, it has to remain open for Texans. That's the beauty about Texas. California doesn't enjoy that. They don't have vehicles on the beach. We do. So let's keep it like that.
Yep. Roger that. All right, guys. So Pre-voting ends this Friday, correct?
So all this week you can it is early voting. Early
Yes.
voting started last week on Tuesday. It went Tuesday through Saturday, Sunday at the county courthouse, and today all the way to Friday. If there's any polling location you can go vote. I think it's open from 7 to 7, and all the way till Friday. Saturday is closed, and they're getting ready for the election on Tuesday of the third, a week from tomorrow. So go vote. Ask the Lord who you should be voting. Yes, I can tell you vote for me, but honestly, you gotta educate yourself, do your research, because a well-educated voter serves always his country for the best. So go educate yourself and seek the Lord. Ask him, hey Lord, who do you think is the right person, and He will guide you to that.
Roger that, boss. Well, again,
All right.
thank you.
No, no,
Thank you
thank you.
again, Luis
Of course. No, thank you.
Monteo, right?
Yeah,
Monteo.
Buentello. Yes.
Come on, bro. Roll those L's, bro. My
Buentello,
wife
Buentello.
always she always gets mad at me. Roll your R. That's what you're supposed to say. Because, it's Sartuche, but I was saying Sartucci on there, and she was mad.
Tertuche. Yeah, that's awesome.
Again, guys, like I said, if you want real change, do
Yes.
some research, educate yourself, and ask questions. That's the biggest thing. Is ask questions because that's the only way to really go on that.
And thank you
Uh,
to Sharkotic one. I think it was a good conversation. Thank you. Thank you for being part of it. Thank you for listening to us. And you can call me, invite me to whenever you want. Honestly, I'm available. All
Roger that.
right.
So, where could they go look up some more information on you?
Sure.
Do you have a website or a link that?
LuisBuentello.com. It's one, or electluis.com. They can find more information. If they go to Facebook, Luis Buentello for Congress, they can find me, and they can take you over to my website as well. So yeah,
Roger that.
definitely yes. And
Okay.
there's
So,
there's
what we
a
could we
there's a number. Call me if you guys want to call me over the phone. There's a number where you can call me as well.
I saw that. I saw that you had a number out there. It's like, wow, that's bold right there, and
Hmm.
that transparency is important because a lot of people. It's hard to talk to these people when they are so hidden in
Yeah,
there.
but
And
but something that people need to understand: members of Congress, they're humans. They're nothing special.
Mhm,
Okay, they're just a member who got elected. But are they special? No, they're just your representative in Washington. Period. They
mhm,
need to be available for you as well. So, if elected, you can come by the office and set up a meeting with me, and then I'll be there to listen to you. Whenever I'm in the district, because you do spend some time in DC. But I think 1 week out of the month, you come back to the district, and you work in the district and meeting with people, meeting with constituents, dealing with issues. A lot of things that the people do in a congressional office. So yeah, I'll be part of our communities. I live here. I live in Brownsville. I know this area pretty well.
Roger that. Well, again, thank you for your time,
No,
boss.
thank you.
Go and have a good night with the family, and God
Of
bless y'all.
course, be
And
blessed.
yes, we will definitely keep an eye out. And I haven't voted yet because I'm still doing my research and stuff like that.
Do your research.
Uh,
Seek
but
God.
yes, that is a big one to go on, and we'll get the right answers. And I definitely wish you the best of luck. Good
Thank
luck,
you.
and we'll keep it rocking. And
All right.
when you get voted in, I definitely would love to have you on the channel again.
Yes, definitely. I love to do
Right,
that.
Roger that. Well, you have a
All right.
blessed night, boss.
Take care. Be blessed. Bye bye.
Yes, bye bye. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do real quick, I've actually been waiting all day to do this. Again, big shout out to Luis Buenteo for coming on our channel and giving us some time to talk and ask him some questions. And so, real quick though, I got a special treat for y'all. If I can find it. Ooh, where's it at? Where's it at? Or did he take it? I think he took it. Man. Well, I think he did. Well, I'm still working on my reels over here, getting them ready for tomorrow to go to Bob Hall Pier because we've got a group of people that are coming with us to go fishing. I'm going to load up. Um, Once I drop off the kids, I'll be loading up to go fishing. And I actually charged up my underwater cameras, and I hope they work. Because we ran into some issues last time that they didn't work, but I guess I didn't charge them up correctly. Spent all day working on that, but I was going to spool a Dorado. It was an HXW Raptor Dorado that was supposed to go. So, yeah. Well, that didn't happen. But I'm going to start. Jeff got through most of the LXs. I've got 1, 2, 3 of those to go through. I think all my 80s are good to go. All I have to do, I think, is just add some line to them. Um, but yeah, we're gonna do that. But I've got my gaffs ready, got my net ready, got my landing net ready. I've got some PVC, got my bungee cords, got my cart ready. I got a lot of things going. So tomorrow we will be on Bob Hall Pier. So stay tuned for that, guys, and we'll keep it rocking. I don't know if I'm going to go live in the morning because normally when I do go live, it eats up my battery pretty quick, but we'll see. That's going to be an awesome moment to finally walk back out on Bob Hall Pier. I'm excited, guys. So we'll see y'all. Y'all have a great night. And again, go out and vote. Please go vote, guys, because again, so many things can help if y'all can just get out there and vote, guys. And that's the thing right now. Every time these guys that we don't want in office, they keep winning because you don't go out and vote. We need your help. Your vote will count. So get out there, get with us. If you have any questions, we like I said with Rachel Caballero, she's been helping us pay attention to a lot of things that are going on and explaining it to us. Because honestly, the jargon or the verbiage they use in the city council is crazy. And so we have another special guest that's coming in on Wednesday as well. So stay tuned for that. And we're going to go. So but I'm going to go ahead and get on this, but I want to kind of focus in on that. Spooling down this. I'm going to be in and out of camera quick. So that's why I'm not going to take you all for the ride with me. But stay tuned to tomorrow, guys. Have a good night. Later.